Here's what's coming up on today's show.
You just got to have a plan, and then you got to understand that inflation's part of it, and having the right investments. They differ. You know, you have different investments when you're working, and then when you're retired, you're starting to draw off those assets. Your portfolio probably changes a little bit too.
Hello, this is Mark Silverman, managing member and founder of Silverman & Associates, and I'm also a certified financial planner professional. I want to welcome you to the Saving with Silverman podcast. I'm glad you're here. Each week, we'll discuss different financial planning topics because making smarter choices about your money impacts the quality of your life.
You know, in Colombia, 1,180 people came together in May to taste at least 3 different cheeses in order to set the new world record for the largest cheese tasting event. I'm assuming that was in Columbia, South Carolina. I'm not really sure where it was. It's not Colombia, the country, but in Colombia. So over 1,100 people coming together to taste cheese, you know. I wouldn't mind that.
I wouldn't think that was like the cheese cap. I think it'd be somewhere like in Wisconsin or something.
Yeah, you would think. But is there a Columbia, Wisconsin? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know.
But
I wasn't invited to that event.
Neither was I. A large cheese tasting event. I love, some of these varieties of cheese out there are pretty amazing. But, I don't know if I want to do it with close to 1,200 people.
Yeah, that seems like a lot.
Yeah, a lot. Well, hey, let's move on from there and talk about something that makes a lot more sense when it comes to financial planning, retirement realities. The great thing about reality is that it remains reality even if you don't want to acknowledge it. Let's discuss a few retirement realities that you should go ahead and acknowledge and factor into your financial planning. One thing, we've talked about it thousands of times on this show, people are just living longer these days, and that's something you have to take into account.
It's a good, bad thing. People are living longer, but you also have to pay for that. So, life expectancy right now is probably around 30 years longer than it was for our grandparents. Mm-hmm. And people are living longer, but not necessarily healthier. They could be in a home, those sorts of things, especially with memory issues and that sort of thing. So you got to figure out how you're going to have more money than life, if you will, more. Yeah. And so it's understanding that and having a plan that's going to run to get you through what your estimated life expectancy might be. The last thing we want to do is project that you're going to live to 85 and then you spend all your money and then 86 comes around, you give me a call and say, now what's next? So we tend to be conservative on that and making sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure you have enough money that's going to keep growing, keep up with inflation, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, back in the day, when our grandparents and even in some cases our parents, were coming along, planning for retirement was a lot simpler because you only had to think about a couple of years maybe, and then people
Well, there wasn't
away.
retirement. I mean, our grandparents, there was no retirement. Retirement is a fairly new concept. Mm-hmm. You worked until you died. That's how it worked. There was no, I'm going to be 65, I'm going to retire. People just worked and then they died and that was it. So it's a fairly new concept.
That's true. Retirement is now a very active stage of life. That's kind of what we talked about in our earlier segment, that, a lot of people are doing really active things in their retirement.
I mean, we have clients retiring in their 50s.
Yeah.
And so, with that being said, at that age, you're able to go do stuff. And if you have the money to do it and you've saved and you've done well, then you should get out and go do the things you want to do, whether it's, getting an RV and driving around or traveling around the world, whatever it might be. You got to do it early rather than late. If you retire and then wait too long, then maybe your health won't allow you to do those sorts of things. So most people are more active once they retire versus retiring and then waiting.
And when you're going out doing these things, it's expensive. So you got to be ready for that.
Traveling is not cheap. Flying, hotels, everything's getting more and more expensive.
Yeah, it's true. Healthcare costs are rising even faster than everything else. I mean, it seems like everything is more expensive these days, but healthcare costs are rising at a faster rate than just about anything you can think of.
Yeah, it's usually about double inflation. So, you're probably looking around, the numbers that I've seen lately were around 5 or 6% is medical inflation, where, current inflation is probably around 2 or 3, somewhere in that range, depending on who you want to listen to.
So the bottom line is you have to be, doing some planning to take care of that.
Well, you do. You got to understand, because after you get done doing all these trips and things like that, your next big expense is going to be some type of health care, which are things that, Medicare doesn't cover, which could be long-term care or just whatever.
The current investing environment for retirees is a lot more challenging than it used to be. And that's a specialty of Mark Silverman. He can help you get ready for that.
Well, I mean, I would say there's a lot more options, which sometimes more options isn't necessarily a good thing because it confuses people. I think in this case, if you're working with someone that understands those options, having more options could be better if you have somebody help you select why these options are better, whether it be low cost, more tax efficient, et cetera. And so I think, the other side of it too is understanding how these investments work and having a plan. And a lot of people don't understand how investments, and they're just confused by it, and a lot of that is due to the people in our industry who try to confuse people. But there's no silver bullet in what we do. It's just understanding that, having a plan. No, there's no quick fix. There's no specific product, i.e. annuity or any type of insurance product that's going to fix your situation. A lot of people buy these things and then don't realize what they have, and unfortunately, a lot of times I can't even help them because they're stuck. And there's huge penalties to get out of it. So the more choices you have, in my opinion, the better. The more liquid you could stay, the better. And having investments that are going to go up and down, but over time are going to work well for you if you're in a globally diversified portfolio. So you just got to have a plan, and then you got to understand that inflation's part of it, and having the right investments. They differ. You have different investments when you're working, and then when you retire, you're starting to draw off those assets. Your portfolio probably changes a little bit too.
And another ingredient of a successful plan for retirement is working with someone that you can trust. And, Mark Silverman takes a comprehensive approach, considering everything in your life, your lifestyle, what is important to you, all those sorts of things, as opposed to somebody out here that you might hear on the radio who is just trying to push an annuity on you.
Exactly. And I know those guys don't like to hear that, but that's the reality. They're just there to try to get a commission and sell you a high commission product. And beware is my. If something doesn't make sense and sounds too good to be true, ask. I mean, I know these guys. Some of them even call themselves fiduciaries. I won't say names. Ask them how much they're making on that product that they're selling you.
What we said earlier, the thing about reality is that it remains reality, even if you don't want to acknowledge it. And the reality is that there are some folks out there doing that.
There are, and they're salespeople. I mean, if you're looking for more advice, then that's what we provide. If you're looking to be sold a product, call them.
All right. Hey, if you'd like to get in touch with Mark Silverman and have a conversation, a 20-minute introductory conversation with Mark Silverman, all you got to do is call 520-333-7601. You can call or text 520-333-7601, because making smarter choices about your money impacts the quality of your life, and that's why Mark Silverman does this show. He is the founder and the managing member of Silverman & Associates in Tucson. Wherever you are, give Mark a call today and start that process. No cost, no obligation. You've been listening to the Saving with Silverman podcast. If you have any questions at all about your financial situation, please give Mark Silverman a call. Again, his number is 520-333-7601, or go online to savingwithsilverman.com. For Mark Silverman, I'm Ron Stutz. We'll see you next time on the Saving with Silverman podcast.
The Saving with Silverman podcast is brought to you by Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, based in Tucson, Arizona. The show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and everywhere you listen to shows. Subscribe to the show on your favorite app today and never miss an episode. Just search for Saving with Silverman to find us, or visit savingwithsilverman.com to listen to past episodes, to contact Mark, and to learn more about how to make smarter decisions with your money.
Did you know that Mark Silverman also has a radio show? Tune in to Saving with Silverman Saturdays and Sundays at 3 p.m. on AM 790 KNST.
All matters discussed on this show are for informational purposes only. Opinions expressed are solely those of Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, and staff. All topics covered are believed to be from reliable sources. However, Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC makes no representation as to its accuracy or completeness. This show shall in no way be construed as a solicitation to sell securities or investment advisory services to residents of any state other than Arizona or where otherwise permitted. Topics should be discussed with your individual advisor prior to implementation. Fee-based financial planning and investment advisory services offered through Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Arizona. Insurance products and services are offered through Silverman & Associates, an affiliated company.